Hey, what's up YouTube? Jamie here with a quick comparison of a couple of headphone amplifiers. I was in the market for one and not ready to invest in something large yet because I just don't need it yet. I'm going to be using this for tracking live bands so that everybody can have their own set of headphones while they're playing in at the same time. And a couple came up on Amazon, the Behringer for $25 and the Pyle for like 16 or 17, something like that. And I thought that they'd be the same, but they're not, at least on the outside, because they're shaped differently. So I'm going to open these. I'm going to check out the construction, check out the inside if I can get to it, and we'll see what the difference is, if there is any. Alright, so first up I open the Pyle, and to be honest, it's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be. The package felt heavy enough, but a lot of that weight was actually in the power supply. It just has 1 1/4-inch stereo input, 4 1/4-inch stereo outputs, and a 12-volt spot for the 12-volt power supply. That's only 150 milliamps, so doesn't take a lot of power. The silk screening is pretty good quality. Can't really feel it. I doubt that's going to wear off anytime soon. The pots are a little scratchy against, I think it's just the caps scratching against the paint on the top of it. Actually, they don't all do it. This first one's doing it towards the top, but I don't know if you can hear that. This one doesn't do it. So there's that. But I mean, for under $20, what do you expect, right? So let's find a screwdriver and take this thing apart. Alright, so I've quickly come to the conclusion that this has been assembled by a monster robot of some sort, and there's got to be like 100 pounds of torque on each of these screws or something, because I cannot get any of them to budge, and I know how to use a screwdriver. So what is in here? A mystery. There's a mystery inside. Let's take a look at the other one. Alright, so here's the Behringer one that was... the packaging assures me that this was hand-built and tested at Music Group City, because Behringer makes all their own stuff. They don't outsource any of their stuff to factories that might be making other things for other companies, like the AKG. The new AKG K240s are made in the same factory that makes some Superlux headphones, and then you can get the Superlux ones for really cheap, and they're actually the same headphones, just with different color paint on it, different color plastic. But Behringer makes their own stuff, so nobody can copy Behringer. They would hate that. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Paper thingy. Did this pass? I don't know, it didn't get the stamp. I don't know. Okay, well, this is a bit smaller, which is nice. I think this would fit sideways in one of the type of strip outlets where things go sideways next to each other. And the power supply for the Pyle is more annoyingly shaped. This is lighter. No, they're like the same weight. The Behringer is actually a little bit heavier, but they're basically the same. 409, is that 14? So this is right now we're in August of 2015, so this is made almost a year ago, which is fine. It's got these 2 little screw holes that look like they had hex nuts against them at some point, or maybe I don't know what, but you could maybe mount that onto a thing, so that's kind of cool. Same configuration except backwards. The input's over here, but it's a 1/4" stereo input, and then 4 1/4" stereo outs. 12 volt, I don't know how many amps we can check on here. How many amps does this thing put out? 150 milliamps, so it's the same kind of power supply. The knobs on this one, the pots are easier to move on this, but I mean they're all it's all the same junk pots inside anyway, right? Yeah, so let me see if I can open this one, and we'll be back in a second. Alright, so this says, do not remove the cover, no user serviceable parts inside. And it turns out that these things are actually not for mounting the box to something, they're for mounting the PCB to the inside of this. There were just 4 screws, 2 on each side, and then I pulled these things off of the pots and found this, which I'm not real familiar with these kind of pots with these pin legs. It's a bit I don't know, like surface mounty kind of stuff. And if we look at the other side, it's not bad. There's a little bit of nonsense up here. There's a little bit of nonsense on this, on IC4 right here. It's hard to see with this light. Let me trying to get my iPhone to focus. I don't know if you can see that or not. It just looks like a little bit of glue or a little bit of flux or something. Same thing up here. I don't think there's anything that I'm going to be worried about. It does say Behringer and Music Group on it, so that I guess they are in fact making their own stuff, as they claim. And but they're not making capacitors. This one says, this larger one up here says Deacon something on it, and this one on the corner is KSD. I can't read the labels on the ones in there, but they're I mean, they're not Panasonic, but I didn't expect to find Panasonic capacitors inside anyway. Oh, now we get a little bit more light in the camera. Alright, well, I'm going to put this thing back together. Alright, so I have the Behringer amp hooked up to my, coming out of one of the headphone jacks actually from my Sapphire Pro 40. Now I haven't listened to a million different headphone amps. I've owned a Focusrite Scarlett. I own a Digidesign 11 rack that has a headphone jack. I have an iPhone that has a headphone jack. I have the Focusrite Sapphire that has a headphone jack, and what else? A propeller head balance interface. So that's, and a Zoom R16. So that's what I have heard before with my headphones. And this does not sound as good as the Pro 40. I just have this one coming out of, I don't know if you can see it down here, but there are two, no, you can't see it. Why can't you see it? Come on. Well, there are 2 headphone jacks, and I have one of them going to here, and then I was just, while the music was playing in my iTunes, I was just pulling that out and plugging it into headphone jack 2. And this doesn't sound as full, doesn't sound as defined. Like, the same, I mean, the speakers inside the headphones are doing the same job that they were, you know, when it's plugged in the other thing, but somehow this is degrading the audio, and this is a real short cable. So it's some kind of chip in there, but it's not really, you know, for that kind of thing. I mean, if you were just gonna like watch some TV or something, you'd get used to it pretty quick. It's not like bad, but if you're a musician, if you're working in a studio, you'll be able to tell the difference. If you're a musician who doesn't work in a studio and you just show up and somebody gives you headphones that are plugged into this thing, I'm not sure that everyone would notice a difference. Some people would, but not much. And because it's just for playback, it's not part of the recording, don't think anybody will ever complain. So now let me hook up the Pyle. I'm just going to use the same power supply because I think it'll fit, and be back in a second after I listen to that one. Alright, so now I did some listening on the Pyle, and then I, just to make sure, I switched back to the Behringer. The first thing you notice is this red LED is like super bright. I don't know how much that's noticeable on the camera, but like if I cover it up with my thumb, like I'm pushing straight down with the center of the pat. Like, look, that's bright, right? So anyway, the other thing I noticed was after I swapped back to, I checked all the channels, make sure they worked. I did the same thing with the Behringer, and they all sound the same. And I swapped back to the Behringer, and I set the level to the same as it was on here, and I was like, wow, the Behringer's a lot louder. So I had to turn the Behringer down to like there for it to be like 2 or 3, for it to be the same as what I'd call, I don't know, like a 6 on the Pyle. So at first I was going to say the Pyle sounded better, but I think it just sounded a little cleaner because it was a little bit lower volume. I think the Behringer has a lot more gain in it, so that could be good. I think for this purpose, I think it's better, because really what you want to do is let people control their volume and make it louder. I mean, maybe a drummer actually would want it somewhere up in here. People that are, you know, if people want to damage their own hearing, then that's on them. It's not something that I like to do, but so I keep mine actually real low. So this would give me more fine control, but I'm not going to be the one wearing the headphones plugged into this thing. That's going to be somebody else. So if they want to fiddle with, you know, the difference between that and that, between 2 and 2.5, then, you know, they can get it however they want. I'm going to test it out with some higher impedance headphones and see how well these can drive it. I'm also going to plug this audio coming from one of the line outs on the back of my Sapphire. But I think I would generally run it out of the front, so that way I can adjust the gain going into it, because I can, and it doesn't really matter, and it's more convenient than going halfway into my rack case to get to the back of the Sapphire. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I will report back. Oh, real quick, the other headphones besides the high impedance ones, these are actually higher impedance, but these I really need to work with the headphone amp. These are, doesn't have the model number on here, but I think it's Q99 or QZ99, something like that. These are passive noise suppression, like they're earmuffs, like you would wear in a shop or something, using power tools, and they have a local volume control, and they're great for drummers, so that way they don't need to blast their headphones to be able to hear the backing track over their own instrument. So that's pretty cool. Isolation headphones, that's the word I was looking for. They're a bit heavy, but these are great, and these are a lot cheaper than the Vic Firth ones or anything else. And they got the, what do you call it, the coily cable. So that's something else that I highly recommend if you're putting together some stuff like this that you need for recording. But anyway, let me plug those in, see what it sounds like, and I'll be right back. Alright, so after listening to the costs through both of these, I'm not even going to bother pulling out the AKGs, because for me personally, and like I said, I don't listen to music very loud. I had this all the way. By the way, I was listening to Jay-Z's Tom Ford. Have some hard transients, some low bass, and overall a song that, you know, generally you would listen to kind of loud. And I could turn this all the way up, and I could have given it a little bit more. And I like to listen to my music pretty softly compared to most people. Now this one, that's as loud as I could get it before it started to hurt my ears. And other people don't have as sensitive ears as me, so maybe they want to turn it up higher, which tells me that this one is not going to be loud enough. And excuse me, those costs on the website are labeled as 60 ohms. I don't know if that's 60 ohms per side or total. Math is hard. So I know which one I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Behringer. I thought it was just a few dollars more because Behringer is a more recognizable name than Pyle, even though it's recognizable as crap. This is actually really not bad, though I do like the color better on the Pyle. And honestly, I like the form factor. And it's not just this little slopey thing in the lower profile. Like this won't stick up as much in the bag. These yeah. The only thing about it is the knobs are like way taller on this overall compared to that shape. So maybe for some people this could be better, but really the volume difference is huge. This is like twice as loud. And maybe you don't listen to music that loud, but you'd rather have that extra headroom and not need it than the other way around. So bite your tongue and get the Behringer one, unless you have more money and you're going to get like the ART or something else that's a bit more expensive. The PreSonus, that's a little over $100. I hear real good things about. And it's rack-mountable. This is rack-mountable. I could put a flange on it. I don't see why not. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, for like a cheap little thing that you can, I don't know, just like tape to a stand or have it on the floor. Now the other thing I don't like about this is because the knobs stick up so much, if this was on the floor and somebody stepped on it and these things broke off, the piece underneath the shaft of the pot is just the plastic, and it's that like surface mount pot business, so it's like breakable, you know. Not built like a Mackie at all. This one kind of feels like maybe it is. So do these come off? I didn't even try because I couldn't get the screws undone, so I didn't even buy. Yeah, I can't even get these up. This is weird. This is, oh no, it's coming up. Alright, so that's a different kind of... What in the world? Oh, maybe that was some like tape or some glue or something. Like some sticky tape to make sure that the pot doesn't come up. But this is, it's got the little knobbies all the way around, and these are directional. Not that that matters, not that one's better than the other, but just shows that they're different. They actually have different components. So this concludes our comparison between the stupid cheapo headphone amps, and yeah, just get that one. End of story. Alright, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, or don't, whatever. Peace.